Path to wealth is paved in discipline and consistency, not by buying into some meme coin at exactly the right time, or by getting lucky picking penny stocks. At 24, I've been able to build a net worth of over $150,000 starting from zero and $40,000 in student loan debt. Here's how I did it. I graduated in February of 2022 from a trade school at age 20. I went there right after high school, and I was still living with my parents, so I didn't have to pay any rent. I was still driving my car that I got in high school, so I didn't have a car payment, and I tried to keep my bills as low as I possibly could. Once I got my first job, my expenses were so low I could afford to save about 50% of my income. With the other 50%, I set myself a budget. I set limits for how much I could afford to spend on fun things, hobbies, going out to eat, clothes, everything. With the remaining money I was saving, I was able to start an emergency fund. I kept this in a high-yield savings account so it could earn me some interest. The entire time I was building my emergency fund, I was also getting my company's 401k match. The next step that I took was opening up my Roth IRA, and I began contributing and trying to max that out. Finally, the last account I opened was a taxable. After maxing out my Roth, any leftover money I would invest here. By the end of 2022, I had maxed out my Roth IRA, built an emergency fund, built up my 401k, and started a taxable account. However, even with all that, my net worth was still in the negative, with my $40,000 in student loan debt. At that time, student loans were frozen, so I didn't have to worry about them gaining interest. But once they unfroze, I had a plan ready to go to tackle them. I had loans ranging from 2.5% to almost 6%. My plan was simple. I can make 5% in my high-yield savings account, so any loan over that I will pay off immediately. And over time, once they cut rates and I make less in my high yield, I will pay off the loans that have a higher interest rate than it. And that's exactly what I did. Currently, I have about $4,000 left in my student loan debt, and that only has an interest rate of 2.5%. But I'm making 3.25% in my high yield, so I still haven't paid that off. Over the past 4 years, my Roth IRA has grown a lot and is currently sitting at about $39,000. I've continued to max it out every year. The first year, the limit was $6,000, then $6,500. Then the past 2 years have been $7,000, and this year it's $7,500. This is probably my favorite account because once I'm 59 and a half, all the money that's in it is completely tax-free. I simply just invest into ETFs, mainly VU and SCHD. I also continue to get my company's 401k match, and with each raise I get, my 401k contributions go up. Sadly, they only match 50% of what I put in up to 6%, but it is still a free 50% gain immediately, and it's totally worth it. I'm currently sitting right around $24,000 in my 401k. During 2022 and 2023, I was contributing to my taxable account quite a lot, and it's currently sitting around $33,000. However, during 2024, I decided I need to start saving for a house. So what money I was putting into my taxable account, I began putting into my high yield savings. For about 2 years, I was able to save at least $2,000 a month and put it into my high yield. After a while, I started to notice I was making quite a bit of money each month just from this. I'm currently getting over $100 a month completely passively just for keeping money in that account. This has led me to having over $50,000 as a down payment for a house today. This all brings my net worth to a little over $150,000 today, and it all comes from me being disciplined enough to consistently invest, save, and pay off debt. I don't have some six-figure job. I'm not some kind of investing genius. I'm just a regular guy with a regular job. I've just done basic things like not buying a new car when my old Jeep still runs just fine, and not trying to impress people by buying nice clothes or watches all the time. This is something average, everyday people like you and me can accomplish. Start your emergency fund, tackle debt, get your company's 401k match, max out your Roth. If you do those 4 things, you will be ahead of most people financially. Most people can't see the value of investing when they're in their 20s. They think, why save for retirement? It's 40 years away. But your 20s is the most important time in your life to invest. Compound interest has the longest time to work in your favor. Just by maxing out your Roth every year, you could be a millionaire by the time you retire. Now, I didn't make this video to try and flex or show off. I simply wanted to make it as an inspiration to others. I'm an average, blue-collar factory worker just like many of you are out there. I know you all have the ability to build real wealth, but if you don't have the discipline and the consistency to do it, then it will never happen. Don't wait around for the next raise. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses. Just start. If you're in your 20s, start now. If you're 30, start now. If you're 40, start now. You don't want to look back on this time when you're 70 years old and you're still working because you never saved for retirement and regret not investing. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you. I think many of us here have heard the quote, "The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now." And I believe that that really applies to investing.